Did you know your home could be harboring stress triggers in every room, corner, and cabinet in your house? Find out what they are and how they can be harming you in today's episode. This is the incredible Gregory Hunter. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about stress triggers in your interior space. Now, there are lots of different things that can contribute to stress mentally in your space, and also stress that will translate to something that's going to be internal in your body. Let's talk about, for example, odors. The brain has a physiological response to everything in your space, but in particular, when there's an unfamiliar odor or unpleasant odor in your space, your brain will have a tendency to release a chemical called adrenaline. So if you walk into a person's home and you smell, for example, gasoline, it's not supposed to be in that space, your brain will automatically trigger an alarm to let you know that you are in danger, and it will give you adrenaline to escape from the danger. Oftentimes what happens is a person who's providing care walks into a home environment that has a myriad of odors that are pungent, and what's happening inside the caregiver's brain are chemical releases. Those chemical releases will stay continuous, and they will erode the function of the immune system to the point where the person will become ill. Oftentimes they will have a pain in the back, sometimes it could be a pain in the neck, sometimes they become irritable and angry, and it's not uncommon for a person who's in a home that has foul smelling odors to become a bit edgy. So always want to pay attention to the things that are going to trigger a stress event in the body of the patient, as well as stress event in the body of the caregiver. Another item that can cause a stress trigger would be an infestation of mice, for example. I've had situations where I've gone to provide care in a home with a person who was demented, and there was an active mouse, and they had actually gotten into her burners under her stove, and it defecated throughout the whole stove. This creates what we call a traumatic experience that is coming from a visual of the damage that mice can do. So this will trigger a stress release in that caregiver. So now the caregiver is carrying stress in her mind and in her body, which also impedes her ability to provide quality care for her patient, because now she's concerned on the one hand that I'm in this place that's got all this activity going on that is not sitting well with me, and at the same time I'm supposed to be giving focused attention to a person who needs my care. Often what happens with a caregiver is a caregiver will sometimes end up having sicknesses that exceed the person who they're giving care for. We've talked about the visual, we've talked about the olfactory response, which is the odor. There's also the response that a person has to the actual dust in the air. They will have a neurological response and respiratory reflex to excessive dust in the air. Sometimes it comes in the form of a nose run. Your nose is running, or you're sneezing, you're gasping, you can't quite properly breathe. The person in need of care, we say that oftentimes they will have been in that environment for so long that they've eroded or worn out or fatigued the olfactory, which is responsible for the sense of smell. So if you're having headaches every time you go to a work site, it may not be that the aspirin is going to be sufficient to keep you from having headaches continuously. It may be that those headaches are being triggered by a physiological response in the actual environment. So I just talked about stress triggers in the interior environment that will affect your ability to provide care for a patient. These stress triggers also will provide a hindrance to the recovery of the patient. So if you're walking into an environment and your nose starts to run and you're having reactions, what you need to do is you need to get on the phone and you need to call to have these issues remedied before you proceed with your care, because you are now walking into the danger zone. I'm the incredible Gregory Hunter, and here's to eliminating the stressors in your work life. This is not maid service, this is intensive cleaning. So reach out to us with the information below, and we'd be glad to help you.